everybody, this is Annie and that's Jenna, and today we're visiting Intertwined Conservation Corps. Welcome to Animal Bond Academy. Woohoo! Headquartered in Escondido, California, Intertwined Conservation is a 501c3 organization that works to preserve wildlife and wild places. ICC supports conservation organizations through education, rescue, and reintroduction of parrots in Costa Rica. ICC's founder, Jenna Duarte, is a lifelong lover of birds and still helps to care for Alani, a 30-year-old umbrella cockatoo who Jenna grew up with. Along with ambassador birds, ICC also rehabilitates birds that have had a rough start. Polly, the African gray parrot, lived the first part of his life in a fraternity. Fortunately, he found a home with Jenna and Intertwined Conservation, where he will live out his life in a healthy environment. Welcome to Intertwined Conservation Corps.
So Intertwined Conservation is working to preserve biodiversity in Latin America through education and collaboration, which basically means we're working to save species and their habitats, and we do so through educating people. We do so here in San Diego, educating local communities, as well as in Costa Rica. So we have an education program within indigenous communities in the schools to teach about wildlife and the importance that they play within their habitat and within the cultures there. Collaboration, we choose to partner with other like-minded people and organizations that have the same passion to save and protect wildlife. And we have a couple partners here in San Diego, such as SoCal Parrot, and then we also partner with conservation organizations in Costa Rica, like the Costa Rica Wildlife Foundation, and part of that program is working with tapirs and quetzals. So this is Panama. She's a Panamanian Amazon, and she's estimated to be about 16 years old. We are actually her fourth home. On average, parrots, they're brought into the home, and a lot of the times people don't understand what a huge responsibility they are. You know, they're very needy, they need special diets, and they, on average, will go through between 3 and 5 homes within their lifespan. And these are very long-lived animals. So on average, you have smaller species of parrots, they might live about 15 to 20 years, but some of these bigger birds can live up to 60 years. So parrots on average within their lifespan will get passed around from about 3 to 5 homes, and that can be for a tremendous amount of reasons, but that's one of the biggest reasons they don't make really great pets, is because they live such a long time. So these guys, their lifespan, they can live anywhere to 50, 60 years old. And as you can imagine, that's a long time to have a pet. So she came to us as needing a place to stay, and we decided we were just going to foster her actually and find her the perfect home. But she had such a rough time adapting that we didn't want to put her through that again. And we realized that she fit in really well with the flock here, and that she would make a really great ambassador. She's a wonderful talker, and the kids really love her when she comes to the classroom. So Katrina on the left, she is a scarlet macaw, and we adopted her about 3 or 4 years ago now, and she actually, her parents were both illegally confiscated over our border here between San Diego and Mexico. And she went to a couple different rescues and sanctuaries, and then the parents wound up at a fantastic one in Valley Center, where they actually bred and they created Katrina. She hatched out, I think it's 14 years ago now, the same summer that Hurricane Katrina hit, which is where she got her name. So she is a fantastic ambassador. She comes to us to our booth events and to our education programs to visit school kids. And then on the right here you have Sadie, whose birthday is coming up actually in the next 2 weeks. So she is going to be 2 years old, and is that right? Yeah, 2 years old, and she's also our ambassador. So she helps us when we go to the education schools and classrooms. She's fully flighted. She does flight presentations for the kids, flies over their heads. And yeah, she's just a big love bug. So we have her because she can work with all of our volunteers and be handled by everyone. So she's gonna turn 2 this month. Her birthday is on May 20th. And she is a green wing macaw. These guys are native to Central and South America. And she's just as sweet as can be. So she was also donated from the same sanctuary and rescue that Katrina came from. And the reason she was donated is because the owner of that organization is very passionate about conservation, especially conservation for parrots. And he thought that they would both make great ambassadors. And Katrina is a little bit more finicky, and she will only step up for me, whereas we needed an ambassador that would work for all of our volunteers. And so that is Sadie. Sadie works for everybody, and Katrina, for the most part, only works for me, but we have a couple volunteers that are working with her now to develop a relationship, and hopefully they'll be able to start working with her too. Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of research being done as to why, they call the scarlet macaw the rainbow parrot, because their feathers kind of look like a rainbow. But people do wonder, it's you would think that they stand out so vibrantly, but they don't. Actually, when you are in the jungle and when we're out in Costa Rica, it's hard to see them. You generally hear them before you see them. So they actually blend in really well. And there's also within those big, beech almond trees are these big red flowers. So they especially blend in really well. So they, just like a lot of birds, there is some camouflage, but they also see in ultraviolet. So it's really more, I think, it's special for them to see one another and for courtship. So they see differently than we see, and those colors stand out in a completely different way for them than how we see them. So I think that's also a big part of it.
Oh my goodness. Such a hot day. It's good stuff. That is good stuff. Oh, she's cute. That's super cute.
So this is Astro. He is also an ambassador for our organization. He is a radiated tortoise. These guys are native to Madagascar, and this is a critically endangered species. So we use these guys as well as more of a species that can move around and kids can kind of get a little bit closer to and learn about another critically endangered species.
Well, thanks for joining us today, everybody, and thank you to Jenna and Intertwined Conservation, and we'll see you next time. Bye! Looking for new ways to engage your students in humane education and the human-animal bond? Order Curriculum in Action, Multiculturalism and the Human-Animal Connection at animalbondstudies.org or cognella.com.